If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard. We are live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Action-packed 3-hour program lined up today. Strong guests as always. Jeff Seeley on the PGA. Best bets for this week at the Charles Schwab. Paul Charchian back in Minneapolis on the game tonight. And also some Vikings rumblings. J.J. McCarthy and Derek Stevens. Big announcement to make here on the show coming up a little bit later on. And in 30 minutes, we'll hit hockey in the NHL with the playoffs continuing tonight. Greg Wyshynski is going to join the program from ESPN, Paulie. But we do have some point spread movement for Game 1 tonight of the Timberwolves and the Thunder. In fact, the 7.5s about 15 minutes ago were completely wiped out. And it was down to 7 at almost every book. And in fact, this was down to 6.5 with Oklahoma City favored at the South Point here in Las Vegas and at the BetMGM books across the country. Well, that has since flipped again because BetMGM went from 6.5 to 7.5 right before the show started. And the South Point here in Las Vegas, which was the only 6.5 on the screen, is now back up to 7. And the total is between 217.5 and 218.5. So as always, shop around. I'm very excited for this matchup tonight and for the series. They split the 4 games in the regular season, 2 apiece. The Wolves covered 3 out of those 4 games. And as for the total, when they played back on New Year's Eve, that was 217. Then they played 3 times in 11 days in February. And the totals were 229, 228, and 228, 1 under, and the other 2 flew over. You cannot forget that Gobert, Randall, and DiVincenzo each missed 3 games. Players like Terrence Shannon and Jalen Clark averaged about 25 minutes per game over those 3 games that they missed. And Holmgren and Caruso each missed 2 of the regular season games for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think the regular season games really have much to do with what we're going to see tonight.
No. Well, some people do because the total moved 5 points based on what the total opened at. In some spots, 213.5. So it could be a frenetic pace. I think more that Minnesota will slow it down. And first things first is Minnesota take care of the ball, as they were sloppy turning the ball over in a couple games, and Finch called them out, and OKC's number 1 with turnover differential and points off turnovers. Are they going to be okay, Minnesota, with let SGA go off and don't let the others get involved? Because he torched them in 3 of the meetings. Are you okay with that? Where it's, okay, then if SGA gets his 35, as long as no one else goes off and gets involved, we're okay with that and we're going to be good.
I know. Is that the game plan? Is that the recipe for success, you think?
I think I'm okay with that, yes. Because I'm going to play zone, and SGA can do what he wants, and then it gave him so much problems in the Denver series. Williams didn't do much. Williams closed poorly shooting the ball. Dort, Holmgren, and these other guys, if they're not going to knock down shots and the zone gave them so much trouble, then I think that fits for Minnesota. Minnesota can do a good job on the boards, and then they're going to be in this thing and can win this series.
But here's the thing, though. I'll fight back on that and say if they let SGA get what he wants, 35 is not going to be a big enough number then. Okay. Because SGA is going to win the MVP, I'm guessing, any day now. And he might go for 40, 45 under that scenario. And if he is just cooking at that point and he's getting whatever he wants, then you're basically going to need not the entire team, obviously, to go off. But if you can have one of the, the others at that point step up and play to like their level, then it's going to be a long series, I think, for Minnesota. But
37, 39, and 40 he had in 3 of the games.
That's what I'm saying,
yep.
Yeah.
And Williams finished 10 of 43 in games 4, 5, and 6 against Denver. So that they're hoping that guy shows up as well. But that's a little bizarre that the zone gave him so many issues. Minnesota had success with it in the regular season. I think you'll get a lot of it tonight. But the big thing is what Randall's done. I mean, Randall's been a superstar in the first 2 rounds, And if he plays like that again, then this series price really is crazy, what you're looking at, because he went for 24, 6, and 6 and shot 51%. And in the playoffs in 2021 and 2022, he was atrocious, shooting 29% and 37%. So if I get aggressive Ant, which you love, and I get Ant knocking down shots and Randall's playing like that, I know you like Naz Reid. I know you like McDaniels. Who doesn't? I love that Minnesota's a big underdog, too. That's the spot they relish, and I'd rather have them be in as opposed to a favorite.
No doubt. And there's also this, Paulie, right? Teams coming off of a Game 7 against teams that are not coming off of a Game 7 in the previous series. 51 examples of teams in this situation where they are off a Game 7 against a team that did not go since 2004. Teams off that Game 7 are 19-31-1 ATS. That is 38%. And 92 times a team played Game 1 after being involved in a 7-game series over the last 37 years. They are 35-57 straight up. 31 of the 92 teams lost by double digits. And Eli Hershkovich had a good breakdown today of the history with that. So that obviously history tells you that it favors Minnesota under that scenario. I'm a little bit concerned with Randall tonight in terms of maintaining the level of success that he's been at so far in the playoffs, because the other big who's going to be out there starting the game with him, Rudy Gobert, my guess is he's going to have to play. He's been awesome defensively in the playoffs, and he is a 4-time winner of the Defensive Player of the Year award. So you know what you're going to get out of Gobert defensively. He needs to be that guy. Offensively, I think the Thunder are going to say he's not going to score anything on us because we got guys who can handle him. So we are going to put our full concentration on not letting Randall do what he's done in the previous 2 series. Mm-hmm. And this team is just absolutely one of the most elite defensive teams we've had in a long, long time in this sport. Yeah,
that's why I think it's going to be key in terms of what gets accomplished from the outside, because nothing's going to get done down low in the restricted area. Because OKC's number 1 in rim protection, and Minnesota was second best in the playoffs. So don't bring that stuff in here. So that's good. Although they were so good, that's why they were so good in Game 7 against Denver as well. But I'll go back to what Denver did in Game 7, which was turnover city, right? And no depth. And once the bench came in, run for cover. But Minnesota has depth, a good bench, and it goes back to at times that they did play some sloppy basketball. But if they take care of it, I think they're going to get a game in OC and have a great chance to win the series. And we agree that the price is way too high on OKC. And ESPN.com, 8 picked OKC, 5 picked Minnesota.
5 did?
Yeah. And they all said a long series. They all had long series, too. Nothing short here.
That's what I'm kind of hoping for. I mean, again, I'm super stoked for tonight in this entire thing. I hope it goes 6-7 games. I love watching both these teams play. And I think... it could be a real, people like to say rock fight, dog fight, whatever. Call it one of those. I think it's going to be feisty at times too. And both these teams have a lot of star power. It's unfortunate for the NBA, like Barkley, when he called out the guys on ESPN, all you ever do is talk about Golden State and the Lakers. That's it. But the star power here absolutely exists.
How much does last year help? They fell on their faces.
The fact that they actually did that and got embarrassed might be a good thing.
I agree. Absolutely. And they were expected to win, and you had home court, and then that was it. It was Minnesota misery. Yeah. So it's a great story, though, too, just like the Knicks. I mean, going back, Knicks with the drought, but this is an organization that's accomplished nothing. The issues in the lottery, first time ever you go back-to-back conference finals, and then before you made it last year, you had the 1 year with Garnett and Cassell, and you got run out by the Lakers in the conference finals. So this has been, you had that streak where they lost like 12 series in a row, whatever it was. So they haven't had anything to cheer about for a long time until last year.
Well, to your point, right, and the history of Minnesota sports fans and the misery there, the tortured fan base, they're going to be up 3-1 and they'll blow the series. Watch it play out like that. Right, commanding lead, dominating, crowds on fire in Minnesota, 3-1, and then just with the history there of that entire state with their teams. Okay, no good, boys. So you mentioned Naz Reid. In the regular season, again, you need to keep in mind, Gobert, Randall, DiVincenzo, again, they missed 3 games each of the 4 that they played in the regular season. Reid averaged 37.7 minutes per game, which was the most over those 4 games. He also led the team with 22.5 points per game and 11 rebounds per game. Again, I've been saying this all year long in the NBA. I love his game. You take Naz Reid off this team and put him anywhere else in the NBA as like the 6th man, and it significantly improves whatever team you're talking about overnight. So I bet I laddered his rebounds tonight. There is a book out there offering most rebounds in the game. He's 125 to 1. I know others who have laddered his threes in this game, and Dan Karpuk here at VSiN has an excellent write-up with 5 different props at vsin.com. I would encourage everybody to read it. He has a great breakdown of several players and the history here of Naz Reid going over. And when he betted, it was 14.5 points and rebounds. Naz Reid is 68-22 to the over, 14.5 points and rebounds on the year. I got it at 15.5. It's still on the move at like 15.5, but I also laddered his rebounds for this game tonight. 6 and up. So but how much will his game be impacted by Gobert and Randall being in now?
I don't see how Finch handles it.
Yep.
You can sit back and watch and take that approach too, and wait till in play and see what game one looks like too. Have you changed your mind on anything? The more you dig, the more you read. How about this? The Knicks starting 5 has been outscored in the playoffs, while the Pacers are plus 22. They close strong. They start fast, close strong, and wear you out.
Well, That's
a disaster for the Knicks.
Then who's the main guy on the Knicks bench if their starters were outscored? Or I guess, did it just play into the margin of victory over the course of the playoffs? Okay, all right.
Yeah, isn't that something?
That's a wacky one.
That is. And ESPN.com, it wasn't a blowout. It was 9-4.
9-4 Knicks?
Yeah, 4 people did pick the Pacers. Right. Smarter bets start here and last all year long with VSiN Pro. Sign up, get an annual subscription, 14 months, just $199. Code PRO. We'll kick in 2 extra months for free, less than 50 cents a day. The morning email from Bill 80, every best bet, every host, every guest. 24/7 video access. The Mackin and betting trends. VSiN.com/subscribe. Code PRO. Lock in the offer. Incredible. Less than 50 cents a day. Go get it.
I want to give you some alarming numbers on Anthony Edwards up next. And Major League Baseball, Patrick Corbin has been much better this year than over the past 5 years, but he struggles against an unlikely candidate on the Yankees. Find out who next.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
The NHL playoffs resume tonight as well. Welcome back. Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. And joining us now to discuss is Greg Wyshynski. Does a great job covering the National Hockey League for ESPN, and he is on the Progressive Guest line. Greg, good afternoon. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
My pleasure. Yeah, I'm good. I'm in Raleigh for Game 1 tonight. And that should be an interesting series, I think. 2 teams that certainly are familiar with each other, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Oh, so as long as you're there then tonight for the game, how much do you think Florida is going to be impacted from playing late Sunday night, quick travel time to get there, and now they're going to drop the puck already tonight?
Every time I think they're going to be gassed because they played so much hockey over the last 2 years, they look fresh as a daisy. So I don't know if it'll impact them much at all. I mean, obviously in Carolina's case, getting the extra rest is nice because of just the way they play, the aggressiveness, the hard skating that they do under their coach Rod Brind'Amour. That'll be beneficial to them. But you never know if the layoff really impacts the team's momentum, or if the lack of a layoff in the case of the Panthers will help them just kind of roll into this game a little bit.
Do you think last year matters, where they'd only scored 6 goals in the series and were swept, speaking of Carolina?
Well, it's 2 years ago, but it's fine. It's definitely it feels like last year for me because I was reminded that the last time I covered a Game 1 here in Carolina, we were 12 seconds away from it going to a 5th overtime. So I'm hoping history doesn't repeat itself tonight between these teams. No, history does matter in the sense that this is a little bit of a different matchup. The Carolina Hurricanes did not have one of their key players for that series, Andrei Svechnikov, who might be their best pure goal scorer on the roster, missed that series with an injury. And, like you said, it was a series of 1-goal games. Mm-hmm. Carolina is constantly being asked by people like me whether they have enough offense to get through and play for a Stanley Cup. And I actually asked Svechnikov that. I said, is there enough offense in this room to play for a cup and beat this Florida team? And he said today, easily enough offense to get past Florida. And obviously he would be a big part of that, having not been a part of that sweep a couple of years ago.
Okay, great job. Also, good question. And a great job the last time you were on. So you had Dallas before the season, and you had Dallas winning the cup, even though they came in on this long losing streak and got blasted in game 1 at home against Colorado. Why did you stay strong on the Stars?
I just like their depth. I think there's a certain amount of bridesmaid kind of thing going on there too. They made the conference final in consecutive seasons. The team has been together for a very long time. When I made the preseason pick, I didn't know what sort of in-season moves their GM Jim Nill would make, meaning I didn't realize they'd trade for Mikko Rantanen. But I'm happy that they did, because now it looked real smart that guy popped off the way he did in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. Went a little quiet in the last 2 games against Winnipeg, so we'll see if he can heat up again against Edmonton, because they'll certainly need him. But I love their goalie, Jake Ottinger. They're getting healthy at the right time with Miro Heiskanen and Jason Robertson coming back in the lineup against Winnipeg. There's a lot of reasons to still love where they are. But again, this is a team that has stalled out at this point in the season for 2 consecutive seasons.
Mm-hmm. And you guys did a great job today on ESPN.com with the previews. You have a goalie confidence rating when you preview these 2 series. Where is it with Edmonton?
Well, I can't speak to what they wrote because I didn't write that one. But for me, it's always going to be right around maybe like a 4. Stuart Skinner has the crease now with Calvin Pickard having been injured. Pickard played pretty well for them early on in the playoffs before his injury. And, Skinner put up good numbers towards the end of that Vegas series, but I think that is much more about the kind of defense that Edmonton is playing than anything that Skinner's doing between the pipes. And that's really one of 2 X factors in this series for Edmonton. The first is they are playing an incredibly good style of defense right now, but better defensively than I ever thought I'd see them play this season, because they certainly didn't play like that in the regular season. And the second X factor is the fact that they've been able to make it this far in the playoffs and win that series against Vegas based on their depth. They haven't needed Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl to really carry the freight for them offensively as they normally do. And that's scary. like if Edmonton doesn't need McDavid and Draisaitl to be the hero every single night, that's kind of a scary proposition if you're the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, it's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Greg Wyshynski, does a great job covering the NHL for ESPN. So in theory, both these teams can win games, in a 7-game series 2-1, or they can win it 5-4. But which style of play at this point of the season do you think would best suit Edmonton to win a 7-game series against Dallas? Lower scoring or higher scoring?
Yeah, I think you want to keep the margins down. I mean, I'm not sure they could even get to having high scoring games with the way that Ottinger's playing. He's been playing so good for Dallas that, a high scoring game might not happen anyway. But, they've shown their ability to win tight games. I mean, winning against an LA Kings team that didn't really give you much, and Vegas just trying to be the same way. I think keeping the scores down is good. You don't want to give the Dallas offensive players too much room to shine. And I kind of think that's where the series is going to end up anyway.
Well, I'm hoping personally that every game is like 2-1 Edmonton or something like that, with maybe a shutout sprinkled in there, because I did bet Skinner at 300-1 to win the Conn Smythe. And I did it because of the number. That was it. Am I burning money, Greg? Or do you think there's an angle here where if he just picks up that play that he had at the end of the Golden Knights series, and he's one of the main reasons why they would win the Cup, he would have a real chance to win it?
He'd have to overcome the narrative that it's not the defense in front of him. And I think right now that's kind of where people are. I think he's getting the credit for being competent and like not losing a series for his team. I'm not sure if he's crossed the Rubicon to where some teams' goalies that win the Conn Smythe get to, which is you are the reason this team won a series. I will tell you that our next Conn Smythe watch comes out tomorrow. We poll the actual voters for the award and get their opinions. I will tell you that McDavid is 3rd in the voting right now. So he Skinner definitely has a teammate or maybe two to overcome before he would even be in the conversation.
Very good. Looking forward to that. That's excellent. Your tweets have been excellent as well. They were planning the parade before the season in Toronto, and we know how that went. What changes should they make, and what happens now with the Leafs and how it didn't work out, and again, they couldn't even get to the conference finals?
Well, since we're on a betting show, I'll make this analogy. If I'm playing video poker, I hold Matthews, I hold Nyes, I hold Willie Nylander, and then I redeal because I feel like that's a good starting hand, but everything else on that team is dysfunctional. Everything else kind of needs to change. It's going to change because Mitch Marner's an unrestricted free agent. He spoke today and did not sound like a man who's going to be re-signing there. John Tavares is an unrestricted free agent. I think they'd bring him back at a certain price. If he doesn't want to come back at that price, there are going to be opportunities for him to go elsewhere. So there's a little bit of free agency stuff that's going to happen that's going to reshape the roster anyway. But man, it is beyond time for them to move past the core four players in Toronto because it's become toxic now. The fact that they can't win a critical game at home in a tight series.
And by the way, the way the game started, Greg, after they dropped the puck, the first 5 minutes, it's like, guys, did you know that you had a game tonight?
Yeah. Well, they're afraid to lose. That's the thing. That's the bottom line about playing in Toronto is that you are the center of attention, and it's a very sort of like great high school football program in a small Texas town where everybody knows who you are and who your family is and where you live and where you get your coffee and where you walk your dog, and there's no escaping the criticism. There's no escaping the taunts. There's no escaping the disappointment that you see on people's faces when you don't win. And I feel like especially in Marner's case, it just kind of broke them. Like there's no other way to say it. They're mentally, when your top six players don't get a point in two critical home games in the second round of the playoffs, something's got to change.
Great answers. Great job. Good luck with your predictions. Enjoy the game tonight. Thanks for a few minutes, sir.
Much appreciated, boys. Thanks.
All right. Well, it's like Tkachuk said. If they weren't in Toronto, if they were playing here, they'd have a cup. That's how it is.
Yeah.
And his other point, too, about Edmonton's power play's been bad. And here they are.
I know it.
With the depth. No power play. The kill was atrocious against L.A., and here they are.
Well, again, that's if they're going to win games like that, then I think the Skinner ticket is going to be live. But it also very difficult to overcome the start to the playoffs for him. But
yeah, that's what I would disagree with Greg. I think missing the first 6 wins hurts him more than
defense getting the credit.
Yeah. That's what I think.
Yeah. By the way, so
I love the game under tonight. 5.5. I think
for tonight's game.
I'm high. Anderson's been great in the playoffs, and I just think you're going to see a low-scoring game, and that's how Carolina's going to have to win these.
So who do you think is going to come out number one tomorrow when that Conn Smythe story comes out on ESPN.com? He said he polled the voters.
Rantanen.
He's got to be number one.
Mm-hmm.
He's not on the odds board.
Yeah.
But he has to be the way it's gone so far in the playoffs.
Yeah. And the Dallas has been the opposite of Edmonton. 5 players have 26 of the 32 goals so far.
Win some, lose some is up next. Plus, Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever play their second game of the season in the WNBA. And you guessed it, her prop numbers have moved since her triple-double in Game 1.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. We are live downtown Las Vegas. Circa Resort and Casino is the spot. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard here on a Tuesday in this hour. Derek Stevens, owner, CEO of this outstanding property, joins us coming up in 30 minutes. We're taking the show on the road next month. We're excited. Derek is thrilled. Details on that coming up. Here, we head out to the Progressive Guest Line. Paul Charchian joins the program as he is the director of Guillotine Leagues at fantasylife.com. Charch, good to talk to you. Been a minute. How are you?
You're taking the show on the road? Are you coming to my house? Can we do this?
We're surprised. Your wife hasn't told you yet, huh? Yeah, we're going to be doing it from your backyard.
Awesome. Yes, I love it. I love it. Let's do it. Oh, I've come on studio many times. I think you should come to my studio now.
Yes,
that
right.
Appropriate.
Terrific idea.
Yes.
Bring the Beagles.
Yes.
We will get into the Vikings win total and what you're hearing on J.G. McCarthy coming up. But, of course, we have a monster starting tonight in the Western Conference Finals. Back-to-back years for the Minnesota Timberwolves to get to this spot, now taking on Oklahoma City. Overall, your thought on the point spread for tonight's game one before we talk about the series overall. It was 7.5. Now it's 7. Some spots showing 6.5. Your thoughts on that number?
The Timberwolves have ranked, first of all, you guys know my basketball takes. I'm just a fan, right? I am not an analyst here. Do not take action on any of my basketball takes, whatever you do. I believe the stat is number 1 team in clutch points this year, Timberwolves. So I want to believe that means they're going to be able to keep games close. We've seen a lot of fourth quarter comebacks from this team over the course of the year. So, and there's some fandom in here for sure, but also just watching a lot of Timberwolves basketball, this isn't a team that gets blown out very often. And at 7 points, you're quasi into blowout territory.
You also like them in this role as underdog, right? You don't want the Timberwolves when they're the favorites and expected to rock and roll. You want them when they're disrespected and counted out, much like the first round against the Lakers.
Well, Paulie, that's every Minnesota team. The last thing you want to do is think any Minnesota sports team has a chance to win.
Yes.
I mean, that's the kiss of death for us. So we embrace the underdog role for sure. Lakers, this team was just completely discounted on, and they rolled the Lakers. Here's the thing I think people don't fundamentally understand about the Timberwolves. You go back to March. This is a long time ago. I'm talking about the beginning of March, all of April, and here we are most of the way into May, half the way into May. This is the best record in the NBA. It's the Minnesota Timberwolves. They have 6 losses since the beginning of March. This has been a really, really good team. Now, are they a better team than the Thunder? Well, no, probably not. But you look at the spread to win this series, and I think the margin's way closer than what the spread looks like.
Okay, so you think the points tonight too high. You also obviously are calling for probably like a 6-7 game series. Would you look at, I'm guessing, then betting the Timberwolves plus a game and a half, or you can lay $1.60 plus 2.5 games? I think that's a pretty good bet.
That is a pretty good bet. If you believe home court is a difference maker here, Wolves in 6 pays plus 750.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's pretty attractive.
Well, you know what's going to happen, right? Is that Minnesota's going to get up 3-1. They're going to go to Oklahoma City. They'll split the first 2. They'll go back to Minnesota. They'll blow them out. Place is going to be absolutely on fire, and then they're going to lose the next 3 games.
That would be that they virtually did that with the Nuggets last year, if you recall. It took a miraculous Game 7 comeback to not have that exact scenario play out with the Nuggets. So that is absolutely within a Minnesota sports team's realm of possibilities. Right
yes.
There.
So we know about the misery. We've been through. We go through it every year with the Vikings. You mentioned what's happened with the Wild as well. How much does this factor in with what the locals are thinking, that this is an organization that hasn't won a damn thing? And remember, it goes back to 0 for 12 to start out in the lottery, could never improve. Made one trip to the conference finals with Garnett, lost in 6 to the Lakers. What happened last year fell on their faces against Dallas, and now here. So how much of it with the radio, the TV people, and the locals are just saying, I can't envision a scenario where they're able to get to the finals because they've never enjoyed any success.
We really can't. We really can't. Now, keep in mind, this organization, up until about a year ago, was the all-time losingest franchise in any of the major 4 sports. And, this all feels like found money with the Timberwolves. And so there's some optimism, but nobody's talking about the next round. Nobody. Everybody believes it's going to be a massive challenge with the Thunder. The pace of play, right? You can't get into a running game with the Thunder, so they can't win that way. That's like a land war in Asia is trying to outrun Oklahoma City. That won't happen. The Thunder is just physically dominant. They will throw 10 guys at you. They'll draw fouls both ways. They'll force turnovers. They lead the league in points off turnovers. You have to slow the pace of play. The Timberwolves have to identify offensive mismatches for their best players. Julius Randle, Anthony Edwards. And then I think Mike Conley is just a huge key to this because you get the veteran presence, you get the ball handling skills, the player who knows how to pass, but also he's 37 years old. And I don't know who he's going to guard on the Thunder. And that could be a massive defensive liability for the Timberwolves.
Yeah, well said. I'm also a little bit concerned about this, Charch, and that is if it's not their night shooting, and even if it's a close game, right, and they're just, shooting 22% from downtown. They're worse. They're going to keep taking the threes unless Finch can get through to them and say, guys, come on, man, do something else with the basketball.
Yeah, this team's got some hoist to them, and they don't care and what their cold streak looks like.
Yeah.
They're just, they just go unconscious that way. And this is, look, Chris Finch, this is a huge moment for Chris Finch. And we're going to find out whether or not he is one of the best coaches or merely a good coach based on his ability to find ways to interrupt a phenomenal offense and also identify the matchups that can ultimately help him. I mentioned Julius Randle. He has been awesome so far. He is the Wolves playoff MVP, looks reborn, focused in a way he never did with the Knicks regular season and postseason. The offense, the defense, the passing has all been there. In his last 36 games, the Wolves have won 30 of the last 36. He is just pivotal to this team, and getting Chris Finch to find ways to keep Julius Randle exploiting defenders like he has to this point is going to be absolutely huge.
Yeah.
That's the positive, no doubt. And the other positive is how OKC struggled against Denver. Minnesota's better than Denver. Denver has no depth. Denver was injured, and Denver took them to 7.
Now, and keep in mind, the Wolves have won 8 straight against Denver. I mean, we were over here going, God, please, Denver. We want Denver. And didn't work out. But the fact that they took OKC as deep as they did is promising for Minnesota.
Yeah, SGA also killed the Wolves in the regular season, and he's going to be the MVP any day now whenever they announce it. I don't know what's taking so long. Paulie brought this up earlier. Do you just let SGA do what he's going to do and go off in this entire series, which, by the way, could mean averaging between 35 and 40 points, and then you shut down everybody else? Is there a path there that would make sense to you?
There is. And here's where it gets kind of, I think, fascinating. So if you're going to attack SGA, if you're going to let SGA do kind of what he wants and take everybody else away, watch what Chris Finch does with Jaden McDaniels. If he's going to put McDaniels, the best defender on the team by a margin, on Shea, well, that tells you, obviously, at that point, they're trying to slow Shea. But you can make a case that just says, look, Shea's going to get his. We're going to do our damnedest to make sure there isn't a second and third consistent scorer on this team. And if Jaden McDaniels is playing somewhere else defensively, that tells you all you need to know about that approach. And that's totally in play here.
Yeah, the bench has to show up. I mean, they are one of the deepest teams in the entire NBA. I think I can trust Naz Reid. I'm betting that I can trust him.
Oh, for sure.
I also think I can trust DiVincenzo here. What do you think about that?
He's too streaky for me.
Okay.
He drives me bonkers. I love the energy. And he's one of the few guys that can, from a pace standpoint, can keep up with the Thunder. But I don't like the streakiness here. But Naz can be a huge matchup advantage because of his inside-out game. If this thing's going to get dirty in the paint, Naz can be a huge force for you. He can shoot outside. He's really a potential difference maker here. He's won 6th man of the year last year, and he's been just critical in this offense. So I think there's an angle there talking about the depth, but also don't forget SGA's cousin, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, has been guarding him his whole life. They've been playing against each other since they were kids. So that might be a fascinating depth matchup for Minnesota as well.
Yeah, I'm just a little concerned there what he's going to give the team offensively because his shot's broken right now.
Yeah, it is,
so,
for sure.
Yeah, overall, but
totally fair.
Prediction for the series then would be what officially?
Well, okay. My prediction for the series is Oklahoma City in 7, but I don't like the odds if I were betting this. And again, do not take my basketball bet. Do not take anything I say as action. I would take Minnesota to win home court in Game 6 at plus 750.
Oh, it's too late because I made 2 bets while you were talking based on your information. So
that's a good breakdown. You're fine. It was excellent. It's not bad.
Can I send you a Venmo request if they both lose?
Absolutely not.
You have time to hang out for a little while longer, by the way?
Yeah. Can we go a whole other segment? I mean, is that possible?
Yeah. If you
got a lot of NFL,
enough time,
yes.
There's a lot of NFL we want to throw at you as well.
Oh, let's do it. Bring it on, baby.
Okay. Before we, so you're going to hang out for one more segment. I want to get into JJ McCarthy, the Vikings win total. There are 2 props that you can bet globally. The league's going to vote tomorrow. Tush Push gets banned. Yes or no? What is your opinion on that?
Yes. We'll talk about it. I don't like it, but yes, they're going to ban it.
Yeah.
And then will the playoffs reseeding proposal get passed?
I think it will too.
You
want to talk those through? I'd be delighted to talk those through with you.
Oh, you do?
All right.
By the way, Charge, that's plus 425 offshore.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. I think that's likely. To happen. And the tush push is an almost certainty to happen.
Really? Well, it's in your backyard. Yep. That's Goodell's idea.
They're all here in Minnesota. I don't have any inside information. They're not at my house. I wish they were. But yeah.
Like we're going to be in a month. Yeah. Okay,
wow,
so hang tight. Paul Charchian on the Progressive Guest Line. We'll have him expand on those and also the Vikings win total and what he knows at this point of the offseason with J.J. McCarthy coming back from that injury.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We continue here with Paul Charchian, Director of D-Team Leagues at FantasyLife.com. We'll get into the Vikes win total and J.J. McCarthy's health at this point here on May 20th. Before, though, we were talking about two props offshore. The league's going to vote tomorrow, right, on the tush push and also the playoffs reseeding. You can expand on both of those and why you like a couple of those bets.
I especially like the tush push. Here's why. The most exciting play in football is the touchdown. The tush push has become a non-event. It's bad for TV. It's bad for viewers. It's a known outcome with an 85% success rate. That's bad television. And at the end of the day, they want exciting touchdowns with the NFL. And that's what I think this is mostly about. I think there's a lot of purists that are like, well, if you don't like it, stop it. Well, okay, that sounds great. In a vacuum, I love that idea. But the problem is it's not an interesting play. When the ball's at the 1 yard line, you know what's going to happen. They've taken the drama and the excitement out of the touchdown, which is the one thing you can't do. They backed up the extra point because that was a 99% play. Mm-hmm. I think they're gonna at least mandate elements of the tush push, at least the part about the running back pushing forward against the quarterback at a minimum. Gotcha. So I do think change is coming on tush push.
Okay, now why are you so strong on the reseed? Just because you win your division doesn't mean you get a home game then, and this is Goodell's idea.
Yeah, well, in part because it's Goodell's idea. What it sounds like is there is universal support for this. It'll be much more aligned with NBA, with the NHL,
right?
That there is a feeling, and now I could be giving you a bad read on this because Minnesota is the impetus of this. They were a 14-win team last year that had to sat around. They had the second best record, and they were a 6th seed. So maybe I got a bad read on this locally, but it feels like there is momentum to, at a minimum, consider this, and I think there's a lot of momentum to potentially change it. And just the value, there is value in your division and winning your division, but I think there's a better sense of justice that they're not seeding the right way right now.
Yeah,
we'll see. I feel much more strong about tush push though.
But I get your point about that. Yeah. By the way, if they think it's a non-play and it's going to happen for the Eagles and it's going to be a touchdown every single time, and the extra point to tie in, right? It was going to be good. Well, Paul's point earlier, the onside kick, it's almost 100% that the team's not going to recover it. Yet the league will not tinker with that rule.
Well, they should.
They should.
It would be a lot more dramatic if that was turned into a 10% play where some team that's down, 13 with a minute left has got a chance to score twice, a real chance to score twice. That would be, it ultimately be better for the league. But that's not the most exciting play in football. The touchdown's the most exciting play in football. And they've been, Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts have ruined it. So, yeah, I think that changed.
So here we are, May 20th. What do you know about the status of J.J. McCarthy as the potential year one starter with Minnesota off that injury from last year?
J.J. McCarthy has an absurd, even historic number of advantages over every first-year starting quarterback you can think of. think of what he drops into right here. He's going to throw the ball to Justin Jefferson on a Hall of Fame pace. Jordan Addison, one of the better number 2 receivers in the league. TJ Hawkinson, one of the 5 or 6 best tight ends, catching tight ends in the league. Aaron Jones out of the backfield. In the offseason, Minnesota prioritized its offensive line over everything else. They added the top-ranked free agent guard, Will Fries. They added stalwart Ryan Kelly at center, and they put a first-round pick into their other guard spot. The Vikings' offensive line wasn't good enough last year, and they solidified it significantly. And then JJ gets all the advantages and this biggest advantage of Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah.
Look what O'Connell did. He elevated Kirk Cousins' game so much to the point that when he suffered that career-altering Achilles injury, he was leading the NFL in passing yards and passing touchdowns. And then after Cousins went down, Kevin O'Connell rung solid play out of Nick Mullins and Josh Dobbs. And then last year, he turned Sam Darnold into the comeback player of the year. I mean, this is not trivial stuff. We are talking about perhaps one of the best quarterback head coach there is in the game. And J.J. McCarthy's walking into that. If any listeners here or viewers have mentally discarded the Vikings and their win total because of the unknowns around J.J. McCarthy, I think you are not seeing it clearly here. Now, McCarthy lost last year to his meniscus tear, but unlike a lot of players, he didn't just spend his time moping in the training room. He attended every quarterback meeting. He studied game plans every week as though he were starting, and they worked him in VR extensively. And so he was still doing VR reps, stuff like that. I think the probability is that J.J. McCarthy is going to be quite good this year, and the Vikings are going to be potentially on par to as good as this offense was with Sam Darnold last year.
Yeah, well, if you told me that he was going to play in like 14, 15 games minimum, I would absolutely bet their win total over. So if you think that he's going to be like that healthy, then I'm probably going to be in on that.
Yeah.
By the way, here's another thing too.
The knee's not a factor, Mitch.
Okay.
The knee's fine right now. He can play
perfect.
today if you need it.
There you go. Then I'm going to bet him.
Yeah.
I also want to bet him. It's my understanding that he is technically a rookie because he missed all of last year, but he is not eligible to win Rookie of the Year.
Oh,
weird.
So
okay.
I did a couple of like lengthy Google searches last week. So what I could find is he is a rookie, but you cannot, like, betting boards don't offer him. He'd be the first guy I would bet to win Rookie of the Year, but I guess he's not
absolutely
eligible to win that.
Yeah, I assumed he was not. I didn't know that he was designated a rookie, but can't win. That makes sense. Working again, the Vikings schedule. Did you guys talk about schedule much when they released the last couple of weeks?
Mm-hmm.
They've got this weird schedule. So they've got the back-to-back international games. They play in Dublin, then they play in London the next week. I think this is a big advantage. Yep. There are people talking about it like it doesn't help the Vikings. They get to acclimate to the time zone, right? I think that's a big advantage. Their travel time between cities is like, I don't know, a half hour. It's simple travel right there. They're going to have these other teams are going to be coming in off of all the disadvantages of the international travel. And then they go on bye. After that, the schedule turns brutal. But their first 5 games, including week 4, week 5 with those international games, this team's going to come out hot and potentially win. They got a Bengals game, I think, week 3 that's going to be tricky. But the rest of those games for the first 5 weeks look really, really promising for Minnesota before the schedule turns pretty tough.
All right. Good breakdown, my friend. What'd you think of the Purdy contract?
Well, this is what happens when you have a good, not great quarterback, and your hands forced. Right? You either have to try to move on, or you just got to pay him. This is many people would draw an analogy to Kirk Cousins, good, not great. I think Kirk was better than Brock has been, but he hasn't been bad. He's roughly the 10th best quarterback in the league. Does he deserve $250 million? No, but this is where we are. He'll make more per game now than he was making per season off his rookie deal as a 7th rounder. Now, the San Francisco offense last year's play dipped, but the San Francisco offense was ravaged by injury, right? Don't have Trevor Williams on your left side, Chris McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Jawan Jennings missed a month. I think that whole offense gets a lot better, and apparently so does Vegas. That win total sitting at 10.5. So everybody thinks that they're going to improve a lot. And you probably talked about this with your schedule analysis. Niners have the easiest schedule by a margin based on Vegas win totals for 2025.
Yep, They absolutely do. Can I interest you at all in betting Brock Purdy to win the MVP based on that?
God, no. What's it at? It's got to be sitting at plus.
He's around 30-1.
I was going to guess 20-1. Yeah. I can't. I just don't think that. I don't think he's got that much talent to be the best player. Well, you have to be just the best quarterback in the league to win MVP, but I don't think he's got it in him.
Can I hear you guys? What's that?
Do you feel like that's within the realm of possibility?
No, with the win total of 10.5, and they're going to get those guys back from injury, in theory anyway, and they're going to be there. The offense is going to be totally fine with Shanahan, kind of like what you were saying with KOC and McCarthy. Can I interest you in Baker Mayfield 25-1? I think that offense is going to hum this year.
Now we're talking, baby. Now we're talking. Baker, this is my sneaky MVP play right now based on where he's coming in. That Tampa offense was getting really, really good last year. Love the coaching that they've got. That all looks squared away. And then they put a first rounder into the receiver position, which I loved because I don't know that Chris Godwin is going to come back and be what he was before. Emeka Egbuka he's ready. That guy is so pro ready. He could absolutely be if it turns out that Godwin's not ready to roll week 1, there's your week 1 starter. And that offense is going to hum. And oh, by the way, man, I love the running back position that they've got. Not so much Rachaad White, but why am I spacing the other guy's name?
Irving.
Bucky Irving. Love Bucky Irving. In many metrics, the best running back last year by almost any metric you want. One of the 5 best running backs last year. God, Bucky Irving is. This is just going to be a really, really good offense, and I'm really intrigued by that opportunity. Would you say Baker's sitting at like 25-1?
Yeah.
That's really compelling.
That's pretty much the first guy I was going to look at.
Wait, enough for 3 segments. Great job, man.
This has been a ton of fun. You guys are the best. I've missed you.
Let's howl tonight, huh?
Yeah, let's do it. Oh,
Get it done.
Win. Everything would. I'll tell you, this town will explode if that happens.
Yep.